I'm Ethan Burke, real estate agent with Irongate Realtors, host of the Burke and Banter podcast. Today I'm here with
Meera Patel. I'm a realtor, a hotel management person, and also I have a commercial development company.
You have it? Like you own it? Who else do you own it with? Or are you just like solo owner?
So actually, it's my dad and then one of our very, very close family friends. They randomly started it and they were like, hey, so we put your name on this. And I didn't realize it until I actually went through the tax documents. And I was like, huh, this is an interesting thing to do that I didn't know about. But then I got really excited because I was like, wow, this is incredible. I love being a part of it. And then once I actually got into like creating the quotes and the invoices and then talking to people, learning about the actual like process of renovating a space, conversions are awesome. I love those. Working with different brands, I was so excited that they added me in.
So when you say conversions, you mean converting like a hotel to some other kind of business?
Converting a hotel, like if it's a franchise, then you convert it into a different franchise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So usually with renovations, I'm going to take like, let's just take Hampton Inn, for example. If they're doing renovations, even after that whole like renovation period, it's still a Hampton Inn. But then if somebody is switching from, let's say they want like an updated model, so they're taking like, let's take Holiday Inn. That's a fun one. So if you're taking Holiday Inn and you want to switch it into like a Hilton brand, then you have to actually go through the conversion process of like changing the different room styles, the branding, everything. And so I really like talking to like what the new brand is going to be, talking about like what they need to do. I really love going through like the permit process for whatever reason, because I think talking to city people is just nice. They're so sweet. Yeah, I love that.
That's not something a lot of people like to do.
I know. No, I'm weird for sure. But I really enjoy. I just like connecting. So if it's another opportunity for me to connect, it makes me happy.
So it's not as simple as just taking off one sign and putting up a new one.
Unfortunately, no. There's a lot of work that goes into it. You have to. I mean, the specs are so complicated. They're so detailed. You have to get obviously the right sizing, but even down to like the shade of a color, making sure it's like a 2005 color instead of like a 2003 color. It's very, very different. So you have to be very on top of everything. And it took a little bit of time to get our footing right, but I think now we're getting into a space where we are a lot more comfortable and confident in what we can do.
Do you continue working with the people after you get them all set up, or do you pretty much just get them there and hand it off?
We only do the conversion or renovation. So it's actually it's the responsibility of the ownership or the management company to actually do any or other like transition things. So I guess it kind of depends. Like if they need assistance, we're not going to say no, but we need to be we're very upfront about saying, hey, this is where our responsibility ends and this is where you come in. But if it's somebody who is, so we have a Holiday Inn. And so if somebody is building one or converting their hotel into one, then we are happy to just talk about, what you need to be prepared for because we know what happens on that back end. But we're not here to give business advice on that note. And we don't want to be like liable for any changes that we suggest. So we draw that line. We don't go any further than that unless it's like absolutely necessary and it's just like very general stuff that they can find anywhere. But
so you don't like manage it for them for a period of time?
No. And I mean, we have suggestions on like who could manage it. There are other management companies that are happy to come in and help you out. But as far as our responsibilities, we don't do that.
What's been like the biggest project so far?
Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. It's been a full conversion, but it's a dual brand. It's a dual franchise. So instead of just having the entire building just one type of hotel, it has two franchises in it. So the top floor is a extended stay, and then the bottom two floors are just like transient hotels. And so the top floor is apartment styles.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then the bottom two are just, like a normal hotel setup.
That can't be normal.
It did start becoming a little bit more popular in the last 2 years, I want to say, but it's not super popular in the Dayton area. And so we were really excited when we got that project. It has been a lot for the owner, a lot for the subcontractors, us, but we're finally getting really close to completion. That was, I think, over a year for sure to do that because of vendor timelines. There was so much going on that one.
So who owns the building?
So I don't know if I can say their name.
You don't have to. Is it like a third party? It's not one of the hotels that actually is hosting in the space, is it?
What do you mean?
I mean, like it's not the extended stay that owns the whole building and they're like subleasing the bottom part to somebody else.
No.
Okay.
No, it's one owner for all of it.
Okay.
So it's a franchisee. The franchisors, in this case, because they have two, they don't actually have any ownership in it. It's always the franchisee. So they're the sole owner of the property.
Interesting. So is it like, still trying to figure it out. So extended stay on top, other ones at the bottom. Are those kind of like sub branches of extended stay? Or are they
No, they're
their
just
own
normal
complete?
hotels. Yeah. Like if you just go in and you're like, hey, I want a room for a night, like that's what those are for.
Okay.
For the extended stay, they have like obviously extended rates. So they could have weekly ones, they could have like monthly. I really doubt that they're going to do yearly because that is a lot. And that has other issues with being a transient place. But yeah, it's just usually if somebody comes in, they need to be in an area, like if you have nurses, if you have like traveling nurses, it's really convenient for them. If you have people that are working on construction projects, it's great for them. So you're not spending like hundreds of dollars on a place that you're really just going to be working out of. Like it's not economically feasible, but you still have the opportunity to like live there in a way that you can cook,
Yeah.
kind of spend your time there.
I like extended stays. They're one of my favorites. They always have like hot plates and stuff you can actually use.
Yeah,
And they're always nice.
I really like those too. I think those are awesome. I love actually being able to cook in a place. I don't really like outside food, and I'm so picky about it. And then I'm also weird about like I have to have like sheets, towels, all that, like very specifically. I bring my own. And so I'm like, I have to kind of be able to like control the space. And I don't think a lot of hotels really do that if they're not extended stay.
That company is you said your dad and somebody else?
Yeah. So one of our very close family friends is our business partner.
That's cool. How big is, or how, I guess how long has the company been around?
2000, what year are we in right now? 22. 2022 is when we started.
Oh, what's the name of the company?
VC Construction.
VC Construction?
So it's the initials of their names, and I made the logo.
Cool.
I'm right there on the corner.
You want to get into architecture stuff?
Let's talk about buildings.
Let's do it.
Yeah. What would you like to know?
So I've helped people with the construction companies before. One I worked with recently was John Henry Homes. They did awesome.
Yeah.
But they're like, come in, pick what model you want. Maybe you can customize the light fixtures and stuff, and then they do all the rest.
Right.
And you've worked with actual people who just have a plot of land and they bring in contractors and architects. They're like, hey, build a house.
Right.
How does that process work?
So for that, what we did first is we got the architect because we had not decided on the builder yet. There's perks and there are cons for that because when you're actually working with an architect, you don't know everything. This is well before we actually had our own company. So we're like, oh yeah, this is simple. Like we can change everything up later on. The architect is also not a part of they're not a core part of it. Like they're definitely building the structure and everything. But I think actually going into the building process, we had bad news from the builders for some parts that, the architect was so confident that we could change later on. But what you do is you buy the plot of land. I recommend talking to a few builders first to kind of get estimates on different quotes. But we did the architect route. So we built a place. It was about 5,500 square feet in the plans. And we were so confident that we were going to find a builder who was able to just do everything perfectly. We did. We found a really good one. But it was a lot. It was a lot of money. I mean, it was a huge decision. We went into the loan process and we were really nervous because we had just started this construction company. We had to provide like, so much information about tax returns, finances, and all that. And we were brand new. So it wasn't an asset at that time. And we had to explain that to the bank. And then I think we had to restart the loan process several times too, because we would just kind of run out of time. It took about 3 years.
That's significant.
It's huge. Yeah, it doesn't take that long for most people. I think for us, it was just a really big cost. And yeah, it's just something that we were like not prepared to go through so many times. And then every time it happens, it's like a hit to the credit and you have to explain so many things. So it's a lot of work getting through that loan process. Construction loans are one of the hardest to get. But then we made it and we were not ready.
You weren't ready?
We weren't ready. After 3 years, we were like, well, why don't we just stay at this one? Like, it seems like we're just going to stay at this one. And when we finally got it, we're like, man, do we have the energy to do this right now?
So I talked to one couple that was dead set on going that route, like getting a piece of land. I think their family had one that they were giving to them, and then they wanted to talk to contractors and architects and all that. They didn't end up doing it because it ended up being such a giant pain in the neck that they ended up just buying one that was already built.
Yeah.
But I was curious. So now that it's fully built,
It's not fully built. We're actually still in the build process. So we have the framing up and we have ordered kitchen cabinets, but we still need drywall. We're still very like in the middle of it. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you're good. I was wondering, like, once it's actually done, now is it worth less? Because that was kind of what the issue they were running into was they wanted to do all this stuff and it was customized to them, and that's why it was so expensive. So, I mean, it makes sense. But I was curious if that's like standard.
We're actually expecting the appraised value to be higher.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Significantly or just a little bit?
Probably significantly. Because we're not finishing the basement with them right now, but we have a plan to later on, like in a few years when we have the income for it. But I think, they're going to appraise it based off of like how much is finished at the end of the build process, right? So they're not going to take into account like any future upgrades, additions that you do. So I think it's going to appraise even higher if like in a few years we wanted to sell it or do whatever we want with it. But yeah, I definitely expect it to be higher.
Is this like a personal family property? Or are you doing this for a client?
Personal family.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. We took a long time planning out the exact locations of where every room should be. We were really big on, oh my gosh, there were so many discussions that happened. My brother and I only wanted us to be on the second floor. We wanted nobody else because like right now with the house that we have, I always face the problem of like having people always just want to come upstairs. Like their kids always just want to come upstairs and hang out, which is totally great. But there's just some times where like my room is not ready for like hosting. Or there's just, I have like certain things in my room where, I'm really big on skincare. I'm really big on like just creating a very like calm, peaceful space. And I'm always constantly worried that like my room is open, like people are going in it. It's always like a weird concern that I have. But
Sense with kids and stuff. You don't want them going in there and playing with your makeup or losing your jewelry and stuff.
Especially when you like spend so much money on it, right? Like that's my biggest expense is like skincare. Yeah, it really is skincare. So I'm really like particular about the items that I have and how hard it is to even get here. Because one of them I had to order from India and it took like over a month to get here. And then the biggest thing for me was I wanted an office. I wanted an office so desperately. I needed one because I feel like I cannot print anything. I feel like I can't concentrate in my own room. I have to be in a space that is comfortable, and I have all of the like materials around me. And I wanted a space where I can organize right. So the office was huge. And then right now in our current house, we have a like mandir or temple room. And that's where you go to like pray. And everybody puts their shoes there because like it's right when you enter the house, it's on one of the sides. And it bugs me that the shoes
I was about to say, is it
are right
disrespectful to
there.
put your shoes
Yes,
in
it is.
basically a little temple?
It totally is. It totally is. And some people will like come into the house and put them right in front of like that area, like their shoes pointing towards that. I'm like, you would never go into a temple and do this. You would never do that. Why would it be okay when you're going to another person's house? Like just face them somewhere else. And I was like, that's not going to happen. So I made the temple very far away, very private and secluded. And the only person who really uses it is my mom anyways. So I put it really close to her room.
That's cool.
Yeah. So there's a lot of like thoughtfulness that went into the actual plan of it.
What's in the temple room?
It's really, I mean, you have this thing called a mandir, which is like a house for like the different idols that we have for our gods. It can vary from house to house because everybody worships different ones. Ours is pretty simple. It's made out of wood, and it just has a few lotus flower designs. It's pretty tall, actually. It's a little bit, maybe 4 feet tall, and then maybe about 3 feet wide, somewhere around there. And then you just place everybody inside. It has a few drawers in it. Very simple. Some people have really pretty ones, and I get really excited about looking at them. But we got this one on clearance, so this is what we have.
I was going to ask if it was like made by somebody who's had some significance or is.
Some people really do believe in that, so they'll have like other temples like make their own, the ones for their houses. But yeah, we're not deep into that of like following one path. We just wanted something that was nice and would fit that area.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's it.
So you did that one for yourself and your family.
Mm-hmm.
If you had a client come to you and ask you to help them with that process, that was something that I was kind of confused about when I was helping that person who came to me and they wanted my help. And I was like, there's nothing I can do. I don't know how to help. How do you add value to that as a real estate agent?
The best way I can add value is informing them that the cost that they are telling you is not the cost it's going to be at all. For any home building process, just especially for custom homes, be aware that it's going to be at least like $50,000 to $200,000 more.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty conservative estimate too.
Yeah. And they're going to pass along other things. Like right when we started, we had to pay like $10,000 out of pocket because the soil needed some adjustment, or like there was like hard soil. That adds up. And then we were quoted wrong prices from the beginning. So the person who was helping us, even from the builder, she was not the best. We love who we're working with now, definitely. But she was quoting us like ridiculous things, adding on additions that we genuinely did not care for, but they were still charging us. And so we didn't recognize these small things. The trim along a wall, I think it's about 3 to 5 feet, and she added in one that's 7 inches, or sorry, 3 to 5 inches. And she added in one that was 7 inches instead. That added so much money for no reason. And so at the end,
Weird.
Huh?
That is weird.
Yeah, because it was just like the trendy thing, but never asked us, never informed us. And there were a few things that like, throughout the process we're like, hey, we're not interested in doing any of this. Like, can we just get a credit back? Can we change it back to normal? And they've been awesome working with us because they even recognized that she didn't know what she was doing. But it's hard because now everything is a change order. So change orders are the biggest things. Be prepared for that. Know what you want. Like have Pinterest boards open. Know what you want. Know what colors you want. Everything. Everything down from like, do you want like a traditional style stairway railing or like a more modern one? What type of like kitchen cabinet material do you want? Do you want what type of flooring? Because that makes a huge difference. So like, I think on paper, everybody is so prepared to like make things work because it'll reduce the cost. Like we had carpet in most of the house. We ended up with tile in most of the house. That's a huge difference. That's a massive increase. But you're not prepared for all of those numbers when you're actually getting down to it and looking at those things. Ask your builder if they are open to working with vendors outside of their network. Even if you are making a custom home, some of them have restrictions that you can't work with like anybody that they're not a partner with. One of our family friends are building one right now. They're tied into that. They got under contract. They were told that they would be able to, bring in their own appliance company, like have whatever type of appliance they wanted. And now they have to do like Wolf and Sub-Zero, which is, it's such a huge cost. It's expensive. I mean, that's easily like $50,000 just tacked on right there. And they can make those changes even during the build process. You're just kind of stuck. So if you have a realtor, they can negotiate that out. You can make actual like changes to the original contract. It's just simple negotiation. Like even when you're in the process, even if you have a contract, if you have a realtor, if you have a representative who is just willing to be out there advocating for you, it makes a huge difference. But that realtor also has to know what they're doing. You can't just have like your buddy, you can't just have somebody that's just like your family friend or something come out there and they're like, hey, I will advocate for you. They're not going to. They're just not. Just because you're friends doesn't make them the best realtor in your situation. You have to have somebody that either knows the process firsthand or has a good amount of experience to talk about construction costs. What types of things should you be looking at in a contract? What sort of things can you do outside of that contract? Like the basement. The basement would add $90,000 minimum. You don't have to do that right now.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to tell you
settled.
that. Yeah. Because an average basement, I mean, even at that size, it's going to be maybe max like $40,000, $50,000. No bells or whistles, but a nice place that you can just spend your time. And they're tacking on so much more cost, right? So if somebody doesn't know what they're doing, if a realtor doesn't know what they're doing, you're basically suffering because you're kind of just taking whatever they're telling you. And that's bad.
Yeah.
You want somebody that's going to save you money and make the whole process easier, more calm, and a little bit more direct because I think I talked to like family friends about this. We had no idea what even style we wanted. And so everything was a big decision. We were taking so long picking out like window frames. That should not be a hard question, but it is. And it's because we were doing everything on our own. I mean, this is before I even had my license, but this is everything that I learned. Like, what do you need to be prepared for? What kind of questions do you want to ask? What is your style? You can't just go off of like Pinterest boards and stuff because sometimes those things are not feasible. But from that, you can take different elements and say, okay, I like the modern style. I like traditional. And you can build off of that, but you need somebody to kind of bounce back ideas and talk to you about what makes sense, what makes sense to put your money into.
Makes sense. You get that little framework from the Pinterest boards and see what you like and then expand from there.
Right. And there's so much stuff you can do. We have like Home Depot cabinets. I love those cabinets. But I spent more money in the countertops because I wanted a very specific type of countertop. And I can have both, but you have to kind of be willing to kind of compromise on what makes sense.
Was there anything super expensive that you wanted but ended up being like, just didn't make sense?
Of course. I really wanted the staircase that didn't have, I wanted like the floating staircase and I couldn't get it. It was an additional $25,000. It was so much.
Dang.
Yeah, it would have been really nice. I had like an idea for what I wanted to put under the staircase. It was right by the foyer. Foyer,
Foyer, I think.
the foyer.
That's how I always pronounce it in Clue.
It's so pretty. It was so pretty. I had a whole like, I was gonna make like a little garden under it with like a Buddha statue right there, just to bring peace, and I couldn't have it, and it's fine.
Still looks good.
It's still
It turned
incredible.
out.
Yeah, every time I go to it, I still love the layout of it. I'm so happy with it, and I've been really happy with the builder too. Like they have worked so hard with us. As an Indian person, there are certain things that we need as far as like there are certain rituals that we do when you're building a house, when you're moving into a house. And they have been incredible. Their vendors have been incredible about really understanding those. They ask questions, so they have an interest in it too. And I love talking to them about it. But they have been amazing. And I don't think a lot of people do that.
So I'm curious, what are some of these rituals?
So I don't know the names of them, but there are some that before you pour the concrete, you have to take this, like, it's a pot and there's like stuff inside of it, and you basically like bury it at different corners of the home. And it's basically everything is to ward off evil, like it's all for protection. And so I went there when they were like starting to pour the concrete, and they let me do that. They actually helped like dig out like areas that would be really convenient. They let me actually go into the construction site. Don't do this. But they were amazing at like making sure I was safe the entire time, helping me out, making sure like we were putting it in the right position, double checked with me because as like a person who grew up in America, like I don't even know some of these things. I was just following whatever my parents said, but they were amazing about it. And then there's another one where you take a few items. One of them is a little turtle because that brings prosperity. It goes under the doorway frame. And you have to put it in there at a very specific time because once the door is put in place, you can't do it. And if you do it too early, there's like a chance that it could just like wash away, whatever, like because of weather patterns. So we haven't gotten to that one yet, but I'm really excited for that. There's another one that you have to like purify the area, bring some bricks if you're building, and you know, do the prayers and stuff and bury the bricks until you're actually ready to put the bricks. They act as cornerstones. So you put them in all four corners. Some people are putting them in only two. We did four, but some people can do two. So it's just like the front, like the corner at the main part of the house, like the doorway part of the house. So one side will be by the garage, the other side will be usually by like a room or something. But again, it's just for protection. They're really fun. I really wish I had more information on those, but a lot of like Indian people are definitely familiar with it and a lot of them do it, but it's just ways to purify the land. It's a way to like ward off the evil. It's a way to like bring in prosperity and just health and goodness.
Any other ones? Or just, was it turtle, bricks, pot?
There's stuff inside of the pot too. I don't know what those are. And then with the turtle, there's also nails. So silver nails that you also put in with the turtle under the door frame. After the home is built, you usually do like a purification ritual of like starting a new era in your life. A lot of people have these and invite like community members over, family members over. People are doing those a little bit less now. They'll just do it more privately, and then they have like maybe a bigger gathering later on when they're settled in. But it's basically just praying for like well wishes in their new home.
I like it. It's neat. It adds some like substance and character to it.
It's a big deal. It really is. It adds a lot of depth into it. It's a culture based.
I forgot the names of the things. Box builder. That's the one I couldn't remember.
Yeah. So box builds are interesting because they give you different models and you pick a model. And there's a little bit of customization in the way that you can choose what color cabinets you want in some cases. You can choose, you know, what type of style you want in the molding, in the style of the cabinets. Sometimes, because you usually can't do like a slab door or something, but you know, something, maybe you have like 5, 6 options for those. Maybe you have like 30, 40 color ranges. You can choose what type of roof color that you want. Like just it's more cosmetic things that you can change for it. But you're not really changing the layout of the home. You kind of have to follow what they give you. And there's less of a chance that you can kind of get back credits for certain things because everything is very standardized. This is really good for new families. This is really good for anybody who is just kind of starting off in their journey. It's really good for developers who just want areas where they can maintain the outside. It's usually a place that has like an HOA or just like a management company that comes in to take care of the outside. I think box builds are really nice when you want a space that is very community driven, because a lot of the people are also in the same situation as you. You can hang out. There's an MI Homes community that I had a client actually move into, and I think they said that like 60 homes out of that community are Indian. And they were looking for that because they have 2 daughters and they wanted them to really feel a part of like a community. And so they have different events that happen there. The management team is very, very kind to them and are all actually know about their rituals too, like the north facing, east facing homes. So that was a really nice change of pace because I walked into that area where the person actually knew what they were talking about, even if they weren't Indian. So box builds can be interesting. They can be very fun, but if you're looking for a little bit more of a change of pace, I would recommend semi-custom, where you can actually change a little bit more of that layout, but you're still getting like a similar square footage to the house next to you. You're usually in a development. But again, you still have the customization options too. So if you didn't want to build like a basement or finish it out, you can always change that up.
So a standard box build would be a lot of the new construction companies I see popping up. Mm-hmm. What's a good example of like a semi-custom company?
Semi-custom, my go-to are Fisher Homes or MI Homes. I think they're really good at doing semi-custom. They have different models that you can choose from, but there's also some variety that they can give you too. But again, like for the most part, it's going to be similar to like the house next to you or like in the development. So it kind of, they have certain looks that they want to go for. Maybe you have restrictions on, I think a lot of developments don't let you use like the black color they didn't before. Now it's a lot more common, but they could have restrictions like that. Maybe the HOA has certain restrictions. So it still is their development. You still have to kind of follow their rules, but you can still make changes based on like if you want a guest room on the first floor instead of the second floor, maybe their model doesn't offer that, but they can make that adjustment for you.
Okay. Just a little bit more customization than the box places.
Right.
I know the few I've helped with, like some of the limits, they just didn't want one house to look exactly like the house next to it. So they were like, okay, well, your neighbor has this color blue. You can't have blue. You can have any of these 3. Okay. Weird, but... And then, of course, there was one house in the middle of the neighborhood that was like bright red and looked completely different. I have no idea how they swung that, but...
They paid more money. That's how you swing that.
Yeah. That's a good hack. Just pay more for it.
Just give more. Just throw money at the problem. It's easy.
Yeah. Box build, semi-custom, and fully custom. Is fully custom going the architect route?
Fully custom is going the architect. Even when you're working in box builds or maybe not box builds, but even with semi-custom, you can work with an architect. Fully custom is architect driven for sure. You can either talk to an architect beforehand and then find a builder that can work in your budget after. My recommendation is if you have a builder that you already like the style of, like the location of, work with them. They usually have an architect that they work with personally, and that might actually make that might just make it easier because then they can also give you prices for anything that you could want beforehand. If I knew about the staircase, maybe I could have had it added in beforehand instead of asking for it later on in a change order. But yeah, that's architect for sure.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Those are the only 3 types, really?
There's like a few that offer a hybrid. There's one that was just meant. So you can There's like a kind of hybrid model where I would still consider it semi-custom, but it's where you have a square footage allotted to that space and you can build however you like as long as the square footage is the same. So it's right there between like semi-custom and custom because you can change up the plan for sure, but you still have to fit inside of this mold of like a certain square footage.
Neat. How long have you been an agent?
Since April.
Good amount of time.
Yeah.
What kind of clients have you helped so far?
Residential for sure. On the listing side, right now we're under contract. Buyers has been honestly a little bit more difficult for me because I'm a very nice person.
You have to be mean to work with buyers?
And you don't have to be mean, but I feel like there's some times where I acknowledge like the situation that a buyer is in. And sometimes like they are absolutely in love with the space. And I will just kind of like put myself a little bit out or like try to help them a little bit more like just more as in like if I know that they're under like a timeline or something. There was one time where I showed up to a showing. We couldn't even get in the house. That's why I was like more upset. Friday night, I am about to go to an Indian event in Indian clothes. And they're like, hey, we would love to see this house. And I was like, absolutely, we can do that. And I do love this family. They're very kind. But I was like, man, I'm going to look like an idiot coming to this showing in an Indian outfit right now. But we were under a time crunch. I mean, we were really under that like kind of limitation. And so I did that and we couldn't get in the house. We couldn't even go see it. Because the listing agent said that it was an Airbnb, but they didn't block off the time and there was somebody in it. And I was like, this is not, I felt bad because, you know, the buyer has like 2 young kids that stayed up for this. And it just felt terrible. Like I couldn't do anything else. We're still in very good like relationships and stuff.
Were you able to come back later and see it?
No, because they even told me that the house was under contract, but I checked up on it like a week later. Nothing about it. I think I checked up on it 3 weeks later. Nothing, no update. So I didn't know what was going on there.
Some agents they behave in a real weird way.
Yeah, but this was like a top agent because I looked at them after. And I didn't like that. It felt, the way they spoke to me was it was just rude.
And a lot of top agents you kind of wonder how they got to be top agents. You hear weird stories about people like sneaking through windows and stuff when they don't really have an appointment to see a house.
Oh my God. I like that's illegal, so don't do that.
Yeah, that's a felony. Don't do that. If your agent does that, don't work with them.
Well, I'm not going to climb in through any windows. That is not me. I don't even want to go camping. But my gosh, yeah. I think it's so easy just to it's just so easy to just follow the rules that we have in place. They're not just for the protection of us, but they're also for the protection of our clients too.
Yeah.
And so there's like this built-in integrity that you also have to have, at least for me, to be a good asset for your client.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, like if anybody asked me to climb through a window, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm too short.
It's a good excuse.
It's not even no, like
if you were taller, it'd be going through that window.
I don't know. I could not imagine like doing something. I could not imagine it.
So when I first got into real estate, I got into it because of how interested I was in real estate investing. And everybody told me to go to some of the local real estate investing groups and meet people, and it'd be a great way to get clients. And I show up with my license and I tell people like, hey, I'm here to actually help investors buy stuff. And there was just so much just animosity toward me. Like not openly, but you could tell nobody who was higher up wanted me there. I had no idea why until I sat down and started listening to some of these people at these meetings. Like you get these people who don't have a license and they've just supposedly they're real estate investors and they've been doing it forever and they know everything. And they're giving weird advice to these new people and they don't want to be checked on it. Like I sat down with this one couple. They were brand new to it. I was talking to them about some of the stuff that I knew and some of the stuff they were interested in. And then this guy sits down who's been doing it forever. He knows a bunch of stuff. And I was telling him about like, oh, I'm an agent. He's like, oh, I never use an agent. I just go and show up to the house and see if the door's unlocked. I'm like, okay, that's a felony. And you're telling these people who don't know any better to go commit felonies. I see why you don't want me here. That's great. So careful what you hear at those local real estate investor meetings, because not everybody there knows what they're doing, and they don't care if you get arrested.
What?
That was
Why is anybody doing this?
They want to sound important. They want to sound like they know what they're doing.
You can sound important without doing illegal things.
Yeah. That was a fun fact. That's I don't remember if I told those people in front of him or waited for him to leave, but I definitely told them, because unoccupied structure, if it's a house, it's always considered to be an occupied structure, whether there's people in it or not. So if you break into an occupied structure, that is a felony, whether there's nobody in it or not. Remember that. I also had a guy there. It wasn't there. It was at a party. I was talking to a guy who was a real estate investor. He was trying to wholesale me some properties. That was another wild experience. But I was talking to him a little bit about that and a little bit about investment properties, and he was telling me that, oh, you could just buy this property from me wholesale and then go 1031 exchange it into this other property in like a month or two. I was like, that's not how that works. But again, if he's telling this to people who don't know what they're doing, now he sounds like a crazy genius who knows all these loopholes and stuff. I'm like, no.
He's one of those like financial gurus on Instagram.
Yes. That has to be where this guy got all of his information.
I bet he's just like copying and pasting word for word too. There's somebody out there actually spewing this.
That's wild. Gosh. Have you run into any people like that?
I have had somebody contact me for a referral, and they didn't tell me that the person was a wholesaler. Right. And then I found out afterwards, and I had somebody else in the office. I talked to them about the situation. They said it sounded sketchy, and we called them directly, and they were talking about like the wholesale thing. If I did not have that person with me, this is like brand new Meera. Like I did not know how to like be confrontational like that. But they were really nice about it. They were very professional. Not the wholesaler, the other agent. And the wholesaler like would not stop contacting her, the agent. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad. Like I brought this like situation into this. Oh, don't do that. Don't contact somebody like that. Please don't. And again, like if you are referring somebody out, please tell that agent like what the situation is, because I never would have accepted something where I didn't know what was like happening. And I've sent out referrals, but I tell them all the details on exactly what they're looking for, kind of what the like budget is, everything that I can provide, because it looks better for that agent to be prepared when they're reaching out.
Yeah.
I want that same respect given to me. And so like when I have those referrals, I will like reach out and make sure I have the right information. The people that I work with, like I feel like it's easier because I know them. I'm not just like that other person. I don't know how they found out my information. I think it's because like you can actually look up like how long an agent is actually in the industry. This is a month into becoming an agent. So it was still very new. I was still learning. And it was a weird situation. We got over with that. I found my own investor clients and we're doing so much better. But please don't do that. Like, please actually provide information that is material when you are sending or receiving, when you're sending referrals especially.
And be very cautious when anyone tells you they're a wholesaler.
Yeah, up front too.
Like wholesaling it's strange. Yes, that was something that came across like my feed when I was looking into real estate investing, especially before I got my license. Mm-hmm. Anyone out there who's interested in it, you notice when these people are talking about it and how much money they make doing it, they never really tell you what they're doing. They just mention, oh, yeah, you get it under contract and you sell it over there and you make a bunch of money. Okay, there's more to it than that. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm sure there is, like, I don't know everything there is to know about wholesaling. I'm sure there is a right way to do it, but 99% of these people are making their money scamming people.
Exactly.
They're going to people who are like too old and they don't know what's going on really. They're saying, hey, I'll get your house under contract for this amount, And then any more than that I get from it, I'll keep.
And
So-
they're not licensed.
Not licensed, and it doesn't make any sense if you think about it at all. Why would you go to somebody and say, hey, your house is worth more than I'm offering you?
Yeah.
And if I sell it for more than that, I'll keep all the extra money. Like, why not just go to an agent and list your house for the right amount and make all of your money? It doesn't make any sense.
They're definitely not being honest with that person. They have no
Absolutely
idea what
not.
that house is worth. It sucks. It's really putting a lot of vulnerable people at risk, and it works, and it shouldn't. But wholesaling, I think there's a law that's coming out that's going to be limiting wholesalers.
I hope so. It's weird.
I think there was something mentioned at RPAC about that.
ARPAC?
I think RPAC.
RPAC. What's RPAC?
It's like the organization that works for like housing laws, housing policy.
Okay.
So I think they mentioned that they're going to be putting a limitation. I would definitely double check that. But it's something that I heard maybe about a month ago.
I hope so, because it's weird and they don't need a license, so it's kind of hard to get them in trouble. You can't pull their license. If they do something super illegal, they might get like a fine or something, but there's not a whole lot of risk in them going out there and just trying to vamoose people.
Do you think those are people like in Ohio too? Or do you think it's
Oh, yeah.
like...
They're everywhere.
No, I mean like, do you think like anybody outside of Ohio is also pulling that scam? Like,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like a nationwide thing. I mean, again, I don't know everything there is to know about wholesalers. If a wholesaler is watching this and you aren't an asshole, put in the comments like how you do it in a way that isn't shisty. Maybe there's a way I'm not familiar with. Because I mean, I'm sure once in a while there's somebody who just really doesn't care and they just don't want to deal with anything, so they just sign something to get it off their plate and they don't care if they lose money. That makes sense. They're aware of what they're getting into. But if you're going to like an elderly person or somebody with a disability who doesn't know what's going on and stealing money from them,
How would that not be labeled fraud?
I mean, it's probably worded in the contract. They're giving it to people who probably aren't going to read it or won't understand it when they read it.
How is that not fraud though? If they don't understand it, how is that not fraud?
There's a specific line between like legally not able to understand things. Because a good example was I was an EMT for a while and I was transporting this one lady who did not have diagnosed dementia, but she had dementia, but it's not in her paperwork. So if she says something crazy, like let me out on the side of the street, I can't say, no, you have dementia, you're going to the place we need to take you to. At that point, I'm kidnapping her.
Right.
So there's that weird fine line sometimes.
When I was interning at the courthouse, there was one case that we saw. There was a person who had been in the juvenile prison system for his entire life. I mean, since he was 6 years old, literally 6.
Dang.
Yeah. And the judge was asking if he understood his rights. And clearly this person didn't, but they just agreed anyways. And that's kind of what that situation is making me think of, is like you don't actually have the awareness of what is happening here. And even if it puts you in a worse situation, you feel like you just have to agree.
Yeah, I could see that.
Man, wholesalers, you gotta get it together. That's what I really like about this podcast is you have such a variety of people that have been here.
Yeah.
And they all have such amazing histories and stories. I think it's a really nice place to just be normal.
Yeah. Like just have normal conversations. I had a guy on really recently who owns a massage therapy place.
Yes.
That was cool. Move Better Massage Therapy. So I want to have a lot more people from like local businesses on too, and local real estate agents and just like lenders and title companies and everybody.
Yeah.
The guy who opened the jiu-jitsu school, I actually helped him and his wife buy a house. So we got to sit down and talk about that too. It's cool.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's what I love. Like this feels so natural.
Yeah.
I also did come from like that inspection, and I talked to the person for about an hour and a half. I checked after.
How'd the inspection go?
Well, he considered it good news, which was awesome. So today's the last day of the inspection period, so I'm a little bit nervous. But I think I get like that no matter what. I don't know why.
But there wasn't any like big problems?
No.
Good.
Yeah. No, he said they actually called me when they were on site and said, hey, we're not finding like moisture issues. He was kind of confused on why he was called out. And then the seller had to leave very quickly. And so they asked me to come in. And so I was like, yeah, for sure. And Person was very nice. We talked about Indian weddings. We talked about Italian weddings. We talked about Italian food. Big fan. Showed me around, showed me what we were looking at. Everything was really nice.
Good.
Yeah.
You don't get that very often. That's the whole inspector's job, is to come in there and find everything that could possibly be wrong with the property.
No, he was very kind about it. He said that there was nothing that like really stood out to him. So it went really well.
That's awesome.
I felt really bad that I called him out there, but it's fine.
No, that's perfect. That's the best news they can get, is that they just wasted money on an inspection because there's nothing wrong.
It was a free estimate too, which is great.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. And he gave me a 10% discount too.
A 10% discount on free.
On
That's
free.
impressive.
On any work if they needed anything to be done, which was nice.
Okay.
He was not a home inspector. This is
Okay.
actually after the home inspection happened, and they just wanted some expert to come out to look at the moisture levels in the basement.
Gotcha.
So we called out the Ohio Basement Authority to check them out.
Okay, that makes more sense. He's a contractor.
Yeah. Yeah. Super nice person. Very, very kind. Very tall. How tall are you?
6'5".
No, not that tall.
I win.
I would give him like, I think maybe he was like 6'3". I know one person taller than you.
Oh.
He's like 6'7". He's pretty tall.
I remember I was in Oklahoma for a while. I worked at the airport, and the basketball team came through once, and this guy had to duck through the metal detector. He was ridiculous tall. He had at least like a foot on me. It
Really?
was wild.
What team was it?
Oklahoma Thunder, I think.
Wow. Oh, wait. Okay, see?
Yep.
I wonder who it was.
I'm sure I'd recognize him, but I don't know any of their names.
Kevin Durant was on OKC, I think.
I don't think it was that guy.
No.
He had
He's
longer
pretty-
hair and tattoos.
Oh, yeah, not him.
It would suck to be that tall. Just to duck under doorways and stuff.
But if you needed a
Yeah.
home, we could get you a custom-made one.
There you go. Just get one of the doorways that goes like that, and then like a big circle in the center so you can walk through there.
I just, honestly, you know the James Bond logo?
Yeah.
Do you know how, like, in the 70s, they had, like, those circular doorways? I would love that. I think those are so fun. I think they add so much, like, dimension into a house. And then also from, I think, the 70s or 80s. But they had those, like, the living area that was, like, kind of down.
Oh, yeah, the sunken one. I've had a lot of, like, I've walked into houses with that, and a lot of people don't like it because they're afraid they're going to, like, trip and fall into the.
I love them. I love them so much. I think they're such a fun addition. I think it looks gorgeous for a space because it adds, like, that, like, texture kind of into the design of it. I love them.
I think they're cool.
I think they're so fun.
I've had a lot of people complain about them. There was one person, like, they loved the house except for that, so they didn't buy it.
We wanted to get it. My dad and I really wanted that. And then my mom said no, so we didn't get it.
Why
That's
didn't she
also one of those
Was she
things
afraid
that-
she was going to fall into it too?
I think, yeah, honestly, because they are getting like older too. And then we also had decided that we wanted tile, so I think they were more afraid of like slippage possibilities.
Yeah.
That would have been amazing. It would have been so cool. So cool. Right now I have for my bedroom, there's like a little walkway walking in. And my idea is, because I just have extra space that is not useful, but I want to have little like lotus flower designs like hanging down and then have like a mirror. And so anytime I want to take pictures and stuff, I can just have this aesthetic place that I can take pictures at because I don't have that here. And then the bathroom I was really picky about because I was like, I need a blender. I need a fridge, of course. And then I can make my own like face masks. I can keep my like yogurt and like saffron and ghee. And I make my own face masks. And so I can just have all of the things that I need without having to like rush down to the fridge in the kitchen. I'm excited. I'm so excited.
Well, hey, if people want to reach out to you, how do they find you?
Phone is best. And then email is possible. So the email is meera.patel@cbishome.com. And then phone number is 937-751-2512.
There we go. Well, hey, thanks for coming out.
Thanks.